Hi everybody, let's move on to the second part of this article about immersion programs. So the question asks, does immersion English work? So the answer is yes, it certainly can. Of course, it has its limitation, but it certainly helps people to learn English. If you're thrown into the environment, if you're immersed in the language environment, you're going to learn English, of course. So let's see the statements here. Number 8, statement A. Immersion students perform equally well in languages, non-immersion students. So you're comparing immersion students and non-immersion students, right? So the result of the research is they perform equally well in language. And you can see right here the score uh, as well as, which means equally well, right? In the reading and in the math as well. Okay. So that means they're equally good in the language if you compare these two types of students. 8b, immersion works for all ages, works well for all ages. If you take a look at here, paragraph 19, we talk about children, right? And paragraph 21, we talk about adult learning, effective for adult learning language as well. So that means it's covering all the ages, not just children, but also good for adult language learners, right? Also are true. Statement C, the effectiveness is a popular subject of study for researchers. So paragraph 19 is that research consistently finds, which means consistently means it's again and again and again, which means a lot of people are doing the same sort of research a lot of times. So that's why also true for statement C, 8C, right? 9, fill in the blanks. You can put one word, you can put more than one word here, right? So, statement A, being immersed in a language does not mean, or does not guarantee automatic learning. So it's quite obvious, right? If you stay there but you never actually use the language, you don't improve. Just like the people who live in Chinatown, they speak Chinese all the time. They listen to the Chinese radio. They read Chinese newspapers. So even if they live in the USA, they don't really have to use English. They don't really use the language. That's why they still cannot speak English at all. So it doesn't mean that you automatically learn it, right? Okay. In other words, learners need to make an effort to learn a language. Here, it means you need to do something to, learn a language from here until I made an effort to learn it. Here, notice that you have to change the verb form from past tense to present tense to fit in the sentence pattern. 9C, when the writer was in France, he spoke very little French. Now, I want you to highlight these two words. First one, was. Second, spoke. These two are in past tense, so that's why your answer is also past tense. Should be also past tense, okay? So you can basically copy it from here. I made friends with other English teachers and I spend the majority of my day speaking English, right? One thing you need to know is you need to change the pronoun. I made friends becomes he made friends. He spent the majority of his day speaking English, right? Change the pronoun, okay? Statement D. Many people living in English-speaking countries do not make any real progress, even after many years. Just like what I mentioned before, the Chinatown example, right? Here, real progress, paragraph 29, okay? Statement E. Being in the environment might force the learners to learn, but the progress can be very slow. It doesn't really mention here, but you can get it from the context. If you don't do anything, the progress, the improvement could be very slow. F. Give two examples. Now, this one is quite troublesome for a lot of students here. Give two examples of the superficial learning. Now, first things first, what is superficial? Superficial means is on the surface only. 肤浅 in Chinese, right? 肤浅, okay, superficial. Okay, if something is superficial, it doesn't go deep. Okay, not really deep learning. Okay, what are the two examples here? For example, I learned how to ask for a croissant at the bakery. Croissant is 我包包, which is the French kind of, okay, French kind of bread, like croissant. Okay, so buying a croissant in the bakery, and secondly, describing the haircut. When you go to the salon, you may want to ask, okay, I want my haircut to be done this way or that way. And In this case, why is it superficial learning? Because you don't really need that much language. You can just say a few words. You can even use your finger to point. You can use body language, and you don't really have to use the language too much. That's why it's called superficial. Okay. G, the writer only managed to truly start learning French. When was that? Here. Okay. I found a great French podcast that I like and started reading French comics. Okay, two things: listening to the podcast and reading French comics. And he started to get better in his French. Lastly, question 10. Complete the following sentences about the second problem of immersion. Now, there are some problems with immersion. It's not perfect at all. It is good, but it's not perfect, right? Language learning will not be effective if the level is not right. For example, if it's too easy, if it's too difficult, then you won't learn, all right? It should be at the right level of difficulty, okay? That's paragraph 31. Statement B, full immersion without any support may not be the best for beginners. They may feel overwhelmed and discouraged. If you're still a beginner, you feel discouraged. Now, first thing first is the meaning of these words. Discouraged means you feel bad about it. 潑冷水, okay? Discouraged, all right? Secondly, overwhelmed. Overwhelmed means too much. Okay, if something is overwhelming, it means it's too much. Okay, 擊敗啊，征服了. For example, if it's overwhelming, it means too much. You feel overwhelmed means, oh, I feel like I cannot do it anymore. I feel too bad. Oh, it's too much for me. Okay. All right. So the last one. C. There are at least two conditions for language learners to fully benefit. So C1, they must be above a beginner level. C2, they must be doing a course aimed at beginners. You can basically copy from here. Okay. All right, this is it for the second part. I hope you like it. I hope it helps. So see you later. Bye bye.